When it's data that's based on first-party activities, it's real people doing real things versus parts of people maybe doing something.
I'm Stephanie Paterik, Editor-in-Chief of The Current, and we have an exciting guest in the studio today. Kristi Argyilan is Global Head of Advertising for Uber Ads. Thank you for stopping in.
Well, thanks for having me.
The first question I have for you, I want to know, what are you obsessing about right now in your role?
Well, I'm obsessing about really understanding the Uber customer and what is particularly unique about them. And if you think about the way that Uber has changed, the way that we all either go somewhere or get something, the type of relationship that we have with our Uber customers, we've got 170 million people going or getting things on a monthly basis around the world, and it's really powerful. And when I think about other platforms that have had that profound of a change in terms of how we do things, you know, that it's a real short list. So I know there's, you know, it is really magical what Uber represents for brands and for our customers.
Your vantage point into human behavior is really interesting, and I'm curious, what is the most fascinating thing you've learned about the consumer this year?
Yeah, and I will say this is unique to our consumers and what I'm learning about them, and the fact that they are probably first movers in how consumer behavior is changing overall. The way that I like to summarize what we're seeing is that they want information, they want details, but they want to compute it at the same speed that computing power is working right now in our machines.
They want everything fast.
They want everything fast. They'll process it really fast. And then they want to go out in the physical world and enjoy it. And so
receive it quickly.
Receive it. Receive it in that within a half hour, so that they can actually go out into the world and enjoy it. And so this fluidity too between I'm researching, I'm deciding, I'm doing, and now I want to go out into the world and just enjoy the moment.
Yeah, and you've worked in retail media before coming to Uber, and we've seen this really interesting expansion of retail media into more broad commerce media, where airlines and hotels, anyone with a screen seems to be getting into this space. Why are we seeing these types of companies get into the space? Or maybe more appropriately, why didn't we see it sooner?
I think it comes from the data that we now all have as companies who have created these lovely relationships with their customer base based on what customers are telling each of us they want from us in order to make that experience even richer. So yes, it's screens, but it's actually the customer data that we have behind it and the way that they are expressing their preferences for how they want us to engage that is creating a different type of I'll call it fidelity of data in the marketing ecosystem. And as somebody who has grown up in the media business and the marketing side of the business, you understand the gaps that have existed in cookie-based data and the data pools that we had that were fine. But this is even better. And when it's data that's based on first-party activities, you naturally see a significant increase in performance because it's real people doing real things versus parts of people maybe doing something. And so that juxtaposition is why so many of us are getting into this space.
So I have heard several people in the industry say, somewhat flippantly, everything is a retail network or everything is a media network. Can any company with a screen launch a successful media network, or do you feel that there are some limits to what works and what doesn't?
I think, first off, you have to really be differentiated. And even if you are tiny, but you have a real unique proposition and something that only you are an expert at, you have a right to be. If you are audiences and mass reach, that feels like there's a lot of that right now. So really understanding from a differentiated perspective what part of the relationship you own in a customer's life is really when you have a right to have a retail media network. I will also say, though, they're not for the faint at heart if you're as a company, and you have to be willing to invest.
It's not something you do flippantly.
Right. It's not a side hustle. So you need to either invest or you need to decide who would be the right partners to outsource it to who have made the investment. So you have to make some smart infrastructure decisions too.
Let's talk about the next phase of industry maturity. Where do you hope we evolve next?
A lot of what we do is very dynamic and in real time, but being able to build audiences really close to activity and action is still a wide open space. And I don't think ever until now that we actually had the tools and the technology that we needed to be able to make our audiences more dynamic. So I'm really excited to lean into that, and I think that's going to be a next big wave of change for us.
Kristi, thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate your insights, and congrats on your new job.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me today.